Narp, come watch, it's time, check the clock. Hitting like Ray off the block. Feel like MJ with the rock. Home run like Sammy Sosa. 2 clutch last period. Get ready, set, go. This a NARP experience. It's a NARP experience. It's a NARP experience. It's a NARP experience. It's a NARP experience.
All right, let's move on. We got 4 more. Try and speed these up a little bit. We got this next one is the Pacers. This is one that I made. So we have TLC, Timothy going with Kyrie in this deal to Nets, and the Nets would be giving up Miles Turner, T.J. McConnell, T.J. Warren. 2 firsts, one of them would be lottery protected, 2 seconds. And my thought process behind this one was Miles Turner is one of the best defensive bigs in the NBA. He's playing absolutely out of his mind this year. He's on a team-friendly deal for the next 3 years, depending on how you view him. I mean, his career up to this point has pretty much been a standstill, same type of stats every year. But if he plays and defends the rim like this and he shoots threes like he has been, $17.5 million, 3 years of a bargain. TJ McConnell is expiring, but he's only making $3.5 million, and maybe they'd be able to re-sign him. I don't know if they absolutely want to. TJ McConnell is one of the best guard defenders in the NBA. He is super scrappy. I love watching him run around the court and chase players the whole time he's on there. He doesn't give him any room to breathe. I think he would fit extremely well in the Nets team. That's 2 TJs. And then
it is 2 TJs.
TJ Warren, he's hurt. Not sure exactly when he's coming back, but I think
Just looking at this trade, I mean, if you ask me, it would be a steal for Brooklyn. I mean, the Pacers are already really good. So, yeah, you add Kyrie to that mix, that would be awesome. I mean, it sucks what just happened to Karis LeVert, who happened to be leaving Brooklyn to Indy, because they gave up Oladipo to get Karis in there to replace those minutes in that production. But if you find a way to then flip a couple of your other role players for a stud like Kyrie, that's a different story. But looking at the Brooklyn side of things, you get a spark plug scorer like T.J. Warren, who you could probably just make your 6th man. He'll be the best 6th man in the league to come off the bench and just drop 20, 25. And you put a defensive anchor like Miles Turner. I think we all can agree that Miles Turner would immediately start over DeAndre Jordan. I know there's a lot of politics there. DJ is KD and Kyrie's boys and all this, yada, yada. But he would be the perfect defensive center and person who could stretch the floor. He can shoot threes. He can shoot from long range. So, and then, yeah, you bring in a veteran at this point in his career, T.J. McConnell as a point guard off the bench. I mean, that Brooklyn team would be looking crazy in my eyes. I just feel that'd be a steal for Brooklyn.
Yeah, they get better at defense. They I don't really know how much they get their offense today, so really much ball. And yeah, all and Pacers. Yeah, I look at it as you basically take this Pacers that last year was like a 5 seed, and you basically just add Sabonis healthy. He missed the playoffs last year. Literally just add Kyrie Irving and Karis LeVert.
Right.
Like, that is a pretty good team. I am definitely not trying to play that team in the playoffs at all.
Right.
Brogdon, Kyrie, Karis, Sabonis,
You can throw in whoever they're at the 4th at that point.
Send DeAndre Jordan back if you gotta.
I mean, they'll have Doug McDermott, Timothy Luwawu. You could even throw in Timothy.
Players.
Right.
Aaron Holiday, Justin Holiday, both those guys, great role players.
Yeah, I think it
would be their big at that point, but
I mean, there was always issues about can Turner and there's always issues about can Turner and Sabonis even coexist anyways in the first place. So far this year, they both looked amazing. They both are playing at all-star levels, but yeah, I mean, you're adding a top 15 player to that Pacers team. I think they'll be just fine.
Pacers would have to figure out who their rotation pick would be after this. But find somebody, come in, play a couple minutes. Sure, someone's playing 35 in the playoffs.
Right. Need just someone to come in and spell like 10, 15 minutes, something.
All right. So another one we got here. We have this one is the Knicks. So Kyrie stays in New York.
Goes across the street.
One Nate made. This is the Nets get 2 firsts, 22 and the 24 first. They get the 23 second from Detroit, which at this point looks like it'll be a decent pick at least. And they get Julius Randle and Frank Ntilikina. So, and then the Knicks also, the Knicks would also get Nicholas Paxson. So, guide me through this one.
All right. So I was thinking about, okay, New York, not Brooklyn. New York wants some sort of star power. How do we get? What's the best route to get Kyrie over to New York? And I figured, well, one, Brooklyn would want some sort of defensive player in return on a good salary, and then, of course, salary filler. And I'm just thinking about who's the most expendable. Well, the best player in the New York Knicks this year is Julius Randle. Maybe there's an argument there for R.J. Barrett, but Julius Randle's been playing out of his mind, just flirting with triple doubles a lot throughout the season so far. I know it's early, but that would fix their defensive center issues as far as rotation. He's not the best defender, but Brooklyn needs some options there at the bigs. We can't just rely on DeAndre Jordan to play 30, 35 minutes at this age, and he hasn't really been that productive at all. He's actually been crap, to be honest. But once again, that's KD and Kyrie's boy, so he gets to play ball. So from the Knicks standpoint, I thought, insert Kyrie there, you instantly have your star. Now we know the 2021 free agent class is supposed to be what they said, stacked, another stacked class, but a lot of the guys who are free agents seem to have extended with their respective teams. So at this point, the Knicks have to figure out how to get those stars via trade. And I mean, this isn't a bad deal. Frank Ntilikina is an awesome defender. It seems like he's, slowly gotten better each and every season. However, he's still expendable. You can still trade him, especially in a package for Kyrie. And if you're giving up just a couple first and a second from the Pistons that we know is not going to be good, I think that's a decent value for Kyrie, especially coming to a team where he doesn't have much else to play with. He's got a really good coach and a lot of young guys. And then for the Knicks, they're just replacing that center that they left or that they gave up in Randle with a young guy in Claxton, just to take a look to see what happens. But I mean, there's more things that can be added to the deal, but as far as the salaries go,
I think you'd have to add Reggie.
Yeah,
not Mitch Rob, but maybe Nerlens gets it done.
Yeah, I was flirting with Reggie a lot. Yeah, I was flirting with Reggie a lot.
Another first somewhere. And I think that I don't know if Julius Randle's a positive or a negative asset. I mean, not for a championship.
Right.
He's obviously he's empty stats bad team or empty stats bad team guy right now, and I mean he is killing it doing it. And I'm not bashing Julius Randle. It's just
but I'm curious how he'd play. I'm curious how he'd play with stars. I mean, think about his career. Who has he? The best player he played with was Anthony Davis, and that was Anthony Davis's last season as a Pelican. Anthony Davis was probably at that point checked out. I mean, he knew it was his last year as a Pelican.
It's just for me, Julius Randle's most effective. He's so awesome, and I don't think the Nets are dumping the ball to Julius Randle to let him go to work when they have the option of Kevin Durant on the left wing and James Harden on the top of the key to do the same thing. So I personally, I think you have to add Reggie Bullock, probably Nerlens Noel. If not Nerlens, you add Mitch Robin And if you do add Nerlens, you probably have to add another first, just because I think Randall's a negative asset. That's because he can't really protect the rim and probably worse at it than DeAndre Jordan will.
Right.
Often need any help. They just need Kyrie.
And the more I
Frankie
started
Smokes
to,
is obviously an elite. I use that term a little loosely, calling it an elite, but he is a good defender.
oh, he's a really good defender.
So I think he I don't know how much he gives you offensively. I don't even know that he'd be there for it. I think if you have Reggie Bullock and the centers, maybe unprotect those picks or add another one of them. Just because I think he's also expiring.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think you have then there's something here because the Knicks don't value Ntilikina. They don't value Nerlens well. So you're not going to be able to if you throw them, the Knicks would have no issue throwing in Reggie Bullock, Noel into this deal, and those players would help. They would help the Nets because they're not. There's no star power on the Knicks. Those guys are role players. They're good.
Right.
I think they're good players. Their strengths aren't really accentuated by the current Knicks roster, whereas they would be on the Nets. So I think if you did something like that, then this would be good for them. And I this is a deal that if you're the Knicks, you're doing it to make another deal because you're obviously trying to get more stars. You still have the Mavs picks. You'll have first rounders all across the board.
right.
And I think if you did that, you'd probably be going after somebody else too. Bring New York to play with Kyrie. And I mean that's not a bad core. I mean I don't know who it would be, but going forward with Kyrie and probably keep Mitch Rob. So Kyrie, Mitch Rob, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly,
Obi Toppin.
Obi. You got a lot of young guys. But you got a talent to play hard too. So if you had another start of that, I'd definitely be.
And think about the Knicks. As of today, we're recording this on Saturday, January 23rd. The Knicks have the #1 defense in the league. Credit that to Tibbs. Tibbs is a full 100% defensive coach, but he's got these guys locked in the right places. And maybe, if Kyrie has a coach like that around him, who knows? Maybe he'll find ways to lock in and unlock his defensive prowess.
Yeah.
But
I think it'd be hard to getting him to buy in at first would be difficult. Like I said, I think there's still another deal off after this. And the Knicks have, you saw trying to make this one. They have so much cap space this year, it's ridiculous.
Right.
They have nobody signed. Like the only there's no way for the Knicks to even do a deal for Kyrie unless you put this here. There's not enough money on the team to get anything done. So this free agency, the Knicks would be major players, and if they could get Kyrie too, and Julius Randle's even more money off their books going forward.
Right.
That you wouldn't have on next year. Obviously, you'd have some of Kyrie's, but they could potentially go out there and get 2 more guys in this free agency class coming up. And there's no stars left really, but there's dudes who can play basketball. You have Oladipo be an option then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Knicks could put some. The Knicks could have themselves a team if they did this. And made it. So, that's the thing you're always doing. If you can get a star player like Kyrie Irving, you don't have any stars.
You got to go do it.
If you have cap space, and you have some role players, then a team that is not even remotely a contender, not even a playoff level team, can become almost a contender.
Right.
Here, just by getting players like this. So,
that's all it takes.
And plus, it's point guard. The Knicks have wanted one for how many years? So I think that would be. I actually think Kyrie would enjoy playing. Well, it'll have to be wait and see how this Brooklyn thing works out a little bit more. I personally I like the idea of sending Kyrie to the Knicks. That's getting some of the role players.
Right.
Adding a couple more, maybe unprotect those picks, maybe add another pick. I actually really like the idea of it.
Yeah, same here. It'd be interesting to see, no doubt about it. And once again, I just think Kyrie's presence would maybe attract some other players to want to go play with him because they know how special of a talent he is.
And it's New York. You can't count that out.
He ain't going far.
It's the Knicks.
Moving across the bridge.
That too. And the Knick factor. Be the guys who brought the Knicks back.
Well, if he wanted to do that, they would have. They wanted to do that. They would have did that last offseason. But to each his own.
I mean to whoever comes.
Right.
A would be.
Right.
That'd be we have to. Got two more.
Got two more.
We got. I'll save the three. So this is Nate's last one. This is the Heat trade. And on this one, we got a couple of moving pieces. I'll lay them all out real quick. We got Iguodala, Myers Leonard, Kelly Olynyk, Harrow. And they're going out to get Kyrie, Dinwiddie, which is the same situation we explained earlier, and Claxton. And the pick situation for the Heat is a little complicated because they sent a pick to their 23 first to the Clippers, and there's some protections on that. That mean they can't really send out a pick until 2027 first. So they'd have to turn this into a three-teamer and just to remove the protection on the pick that they sent Clippers or the 23rd year pick. So they technically couldn't do this right now, but obviously if they wanted to, they could make something happen. So they'd also send their 24 and 25 first. 25 would be pick swap in this situation, or 24 would have to be the pick swap one, and the 25 would have to be straight up. But that's besides the point. So you're basically sending two first, 24, 25 with. So you put Harrow in here. You got Olynyk and Leonard, Iguodala.
Yep.
All going to the Nets. Get Kyrie. Like I said, again, the Dinwiddie. We have no idea what would happen with that. And Claxton. So
yeah. I don't know how people gauge Hero. I think Hero is an amazing player.
He is polarizing.
He is
super tough to.
He's super tough to gauge. Like, is he going to be an all-star? Is he going to be an all-star one day? Like, that's the question. Because if he is, maybe you reevaluate this.
He's so young.
I know. He's
hard
a
to tell.
baby.
I mean, you see the flashes there, but like,
I just
in 5 years when he's a grown man, is he an all-star? I mean, what do you think? I have no idea. I don't think he is.
I personally I think he's going to be like one of those guys that's a top 30, top 40 player who just never makes all-star games, but teams just respect him. Almost like Drew Holiday. Like, people just know how good of a player, like actual NBA players, they talk about how good Drew Holiday is. He just never makes an all-star team. And I can see it going that route. And it's like, listen, there's only, 13 guys each roster that makes all-star team. We're talking about 26 players making an all-star team. It's going to be tough for Tyler Hero to be a top 26 player. But if you get a chance to flip Hero with some expirings and bigs, an old Andre Iguodala, and a couple firsts, and you're getting Kyrie back, a young center in Claxton who still has so much to learn and prove, and a possible chance at Dinwiddie. This is what I think about Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie's going to want to go get his money, like you said, and there's a chance he can find a way to get that long-term deal at a number a little higher than what he's making. But if he finds a way to get to Miami, there's something about that Heat culture that I think might attract to him. Like, why would he want to leave this? I can see a chance, I should say, I could see a world where Dinwiddie opts in and gives it 1 year a go, and if he doesn't like it, trade him by the deadline, or the next offseason he walks, whatever the case may be. That's on him. But if you find a way to replace that depth of Iggy, Leonard, Olynyk, Hero with Kyrie and Dinwiddie, not even worried about Claxton. Like, we're not talking about this season, but next season, I don't know, dude. That Heat team is scary. And then
this is the most win-win deal I think I've made out of all the trades so far. I think I agree. I think Heat team with Kyrie, Jimmy, Bam, Dinwiddie,
and Duncan Robinson. Oh man, my goodness.
You'd have none. I don't know what it would going forward after that. You still have Harkless and Bradley.
Oh, I mean, all those guys would sign back to the minimums if
But
they
man,
saw this team.
that team. I mean, that team.
Yeah, man. That team,
Would be
and I think for
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn's getting the depth they need, right? As
yeah,
far as the
I agree. I think
positions
so
and
too. You're getting Iguodala who can play defense for you on the wings. You're getting Arrow for Brett. I mean, you'll on him if you want. Olynyk can spread the floor for you this year. And I mean, he's not gonna stop anyone down low. But I mean, Leonard's a little bit better than him at that.
right,
He can spread the floor too.
right.
And
You have options
he's on
now.
a good deal too. He's on a good deal, 2 years, 10 mil. I mean, the good thing with this too is this is another thing what we haven't really touched on is the Nets don't really have the ability to go and get other role players right now unless they trade Kyrie. And a tough thing to do is try and get like a good mid-level role player when you don't have anyone to trade for them other than like Spencer Dinwiddie. So this would be them consolidating the talent. They would get 2 years of a 15 mil contract, 2 years of a 9 mil contract, 3 years of a 3.8 mil contract, and
Right.
then 1 year of Olynyk that probably expire. But that would give them some more room to play with if they need to make moves. They could trade Leonard next year for a guy who's a 10 mil player. Let's say they can get a better big with Leonard. They can ship.
I mean, Leonard's on the team option.
to get-
Leonard's on team option.
Yeah.
They don't even have to bring him back if they didn't want to. But even if you want to like you said, he'll be an expiring if you do so. So then maybe
Yeah,
you
you
could
could
find a
trade
way
him.
to
You could get
right
something.
and get something for that. Yeah, later on. Right.
Yeah.
But
That's a big thing too. But I
Right.
think all these guys would help them.
right, it gives them options as far as bigs go. You don't have to. You don't have to just play DeAndre Jordan. You can choose between Olynyk one night or Leonard the next. I mean, both those guys are similar players. We said it before. Myers can bang down low a little better, but they both can stretch the floor. And Iggy, he's just getting there in age, but he's an expiring as well. So, I mean, I don't know. And then you insert Tyler Hero, who's under team control for 3 more years. I mean, at a really good number, who's already a gifted scorer and only has a chance to get better. So, and you get a couple picks out of it as well. If you're Brooklyn, I think that's a very even and fair deal for sure.
I like this. I think this is. I like this. If this happened, I'd be happy just to see go ahead. I mean, there's.
For both sides, right? For
That's
both
probably-
sides.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to go ahead and give us our
Oh.
last one? We got a
Yeah, this-
3-teamer.
It's our last one. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. We got a 3-team trade. It's not really that involved for the third team, but it is the Magic. So this would be the Magic sending some players to the Nets. Kyrie would be going to Orlando, and this year's probably a wash just because you lost Isaac and Fultz, and that sucks for the forward. That sucks so bad because they really need to figure out what they're getting out of those two guys
Mm-hmm.
to make some decisions. But it does look like they have been consolidating, or they have been accumulating role players for the last decade. Orlando has, and they don't have any stars other than Vooch. And I think he's highly underrated. So basically, you're sending. Third team is the Thunder. So deal starts off with the Magic receiving Kyrie Irving and Landry Shamet. The Thunder would get Markelle and the 21 second round pick from the Magic. And then the only thing that the Thunder give up in this whole deal would be George Hill on a 2-year, $9.5 million contract to go play for the Nets. And then the rest is all given up by the Magic. The Magic would be giving up Fournier, who's on an expiring 1-year deal. Michael Carter Williams, who's on a 2-year, $3.3 mil deal. And Kem Burge, who's on a 1-year, $3 mil deal. The Nets would also be getting 2 first-round picks from the Magic, 21 and 23. So my thought process going through this deal was I went back and forth a couple times on who the Magic should send to the Nets if they made a deal. And I think that the Magic are trying to win now if they do this, because if they've been in the middle for so long that they basically have to pick if they're going all in or if they're going to rebuild or just blow it up and try and rebuild again. And I think this is them just going all in. And because they're going all in, I don't think they'd get rid of a guy like Aaron Gordon. There's a lot of talk about how, at least last offseason, was how they were trying to move off of it. And I think it's a little difficult to do that now. And you can't get off of Aaron Gordon and then go all in. So, because Johnny Isaac's out.
Right.
So
That just hurts the wing
they have
depth.
no wings.
Right.
Yeah, so this would give them a chance to compete. So they'd get Kyrie and Shamet, Fournier, Michael Carter Williams. This would give Cole Anthony the ability to not have to compete with Fultz controlling the ball, second unit. This would it would hurt them. Obviously, Fournier's shooting being gone would hurt them, but they'd pick up Shamet, who would play some minutes for them. Terrence Ross would probably jump into the starting lineup. Aaron Gordon, and they'd lose Ken Bertry's a good big, but now it's time to play Mo Bamba, who you've had.
It's been time forever.
He's still got to get his legs under him after COVID. But
poor guy's still recovering.
And they'd lose 2 first. But they're going forward. I feel like their lineup next year they'd still be able to make more after this too, to add more talent. But their core would be Kyrie, Aaron Gordon, Vucevic, and Johnny Isaac, and you'd have Al-Farouq Aminu, Terrence Ross, Cole Anthony. That would be your main guys going forward. I think that's a team that can compete in the East. There is so much offensive talent between Vuce and Kyrie. It's absolutely unreal.
Right.
The defense is there in the wings with Aminu, Gordon, Isaac. Those guys are all locked on. They all have size. Your help defense would be amazing. Kyrie would be able to be masked pretty well there. I feel like that'd be a highly underrated. I feel like they'd be better than you expect. I don't know regular season how many games they would win, but I know playoff time, that would not be a team I would want to play compared to like the past couple of years.
Right.
And haven't really been that scary, but
No.
a team like this could sneak in. That would be a scary team.
I mean, you look at it; it's good return for the Magic and the entirety of it.
Yeah. So that's it for them. And then the Thunder would just be getting Markelle and a second-round pick for their troubles to get off George Hill, which I'm sure they're going to do anyway. I don't know exactly how they'll do it, but they'd be getting Markelle, and obviously, he just tore his ACL, but 4 years for roughly 15 a year, I believe, will be his contract that he extended. So they'd be getting a young Markelle Fultz, which could be an asset if he turns out to be. He looked good before he got hurt, so that would be useful for them whether they want to keep him going forward or see how he progresses even more. And then the Nets would get the George Hill, which I'm sure they have their eyes on anyway, and all the contenders who need the ball handling have their eyes on him at this point.
Yep.
And he'd be so good for them. Fournier would spread the floor. Michael Carter Williams would play defense for him, and Ken Birch would actually be. I think he's very underrated. He'd be a good player. Back up DeAndre Jordan. I wouldn't be afraid to play him in crucial minutes. He's a good physical big. He helps that presence for them. And then they'd get 2 firsts. So, I mean, I don't know how much I really like the return that the Nets get on this, but I wish that they could have got either got them a better big. I mean, maybe if they want to go get Mo Bamba, they could get Mo Bamba. But really, it just depends on if they would want Mo Bamba or Kem Birch.
Honestly, for the Nets for the Nets case, I think Kem Birch would be the perfect fit. Honestly, I think he's better than DeAndre Jordan at this point, making $7 million less. He isn't expiring, so you get to run with him for a year. I mean, as far as Mo Bamba, he's still a work in progress. You would have to take under his contract, which has another year under team control, and then enters restricted free agency. Blah blah blah. I think Kem Birch would be the better fit. And then, of course, like you said, all contenders should be going after George Hill at the moment. It still has a lot to give, and is a really good number right now for his contract. It didn't look that way at first, but how the contract worked in its final year, it bodes well for teams looking to make a run at a ball handler. And then, you're just adding more shooting with Evan Fournier and another good wing defender in Michael Carter-Williams who can cover 1 through 3s. I mean, this honestly, looking at this on paper like this is an even trade for all teams. I think all teams are like going to win out on this. Markelle Fultz, it remains to be seen how he would look next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Not the greatest shooting, but still not awful or bad. I mean, we know about Fultz's woes, but SGA isn't a bad shooter at all. He's pretty good. I wouldn't say he's like a catch and shoot threat, but don't leave him open out there either. But I think they could coexist with each other out there. And nowadays, a lot of teams are running 2 ball handlers in their lineups anyways. So getting a second rounder and Markelle for just the price of George Hill, that's a win right there for Thunder. And of course, Sam Presti just adds more assets to his treasure chest since he'll be having 60 first round picks in the next 7 years. So, and for Orlando, like you said, it just adds a threat. I mean, Orlando's been hovering around that 6, 7, 8, 9 seed for the last, handful of years. You just throw Kyrie Irving on that team without having to give up Vooch or give up Aaron Gordon, who have been labeled as your 2 best players, and that's looking like a deadlier threat now in the East. Just adding Kyrie Irving and his scoring ability and playmaking. So, I think that's a win-win-win for all 3 squads. Just looking at it.
Like I said, my biggest concern would just be the Nets get a ball without Kyrie here, and maybe the Nets don't want the first. Maybe the Nets have to get another first from the Magic. Maybe they have to throw them another future first just to because of Magic if they trade for Kyrie. I mean, that 21 first Magic is going to be good.
Yeah.
So I think the Nets would be happy with that. I don't know if they trade it for a future first or what they would do because I don't know how much a first would help them right now. But maybe they get a big with that. Maybe they use that, package that first they get from Magic with Kem Birch to get another big, something like that.
And who knows, by 2023...
Maybe they'd rather have Terrence Ross instead of Evan Fournier. And they could make that work that way, and then they could attach that 21st pick from the Magic with Terrence Ross and then get a big with that because Terrence Ross makes 12 mil. So maybe that would be what they would do, and then that would open up a little more cap space next offseason for the Magic to sign somebody.
Well, I was going to say, and who knows, even by 2023, Kyrie has a player option. I believe that's Vucevic's last year. There's a chance Orlando just might not be good. There is a chance. Yeah. And, Brooklyn will look like gods if they make that work and get, potentially 2 lottery picks from them in 21 and 23. So we don't know, but that I don't think it's looking at the landscape of the East and the players and the contracts and where they're going to be at in those years, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I think tinkering with the Nets players that they'd be getting from the Magic figure it out just because it all depends on how the Nets value the player. But this is just my opinion, how I think it would work, or I think a good way that it would work, just to help them now and help them later.
Yeah. Those are our potential Kyrie trades. Once again, folks, we're not thinking he's going to get traded anytime soon. There's been chatter, and it's been chatter of can these 3 coexist. And so far, offensively, they look amazing. It looks like they're not skipping a beat. It looks like they've all played together for years. It almost looks like a USA game, Team USA game. But but defensively, oh my goodness, they need to fix that a lot. And I think
how to get them stops. I don't think it even has to be. It's just mean, maybe they could. I don't know what they'd be able to do. Dinwiddie is just such a hard thing to gauge. Even on
Right.
that most teams probably wouldn't, but they just don't. The problem with the Nets is they don't have anything to give up to get a center. They literally have nothing. They have no
Right.
picks. They have no contracts they can trade other than Kyrie. So, I mean, obviously you're not flipping Harden. You're not flipping KD. So Kyrie, God man out. I mean, honestly, I'd punch it at a 50% chance he gets traded this year. That's what I think. I think it'll happen.
There's a chance.
It'll happen.
I think
I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I'd be surprised if it did. I mean, honestly, I'd probably say 65, 70%. Because personally, I just don't. I think you need to build a roster, and you can't just. It sucks because KD, Harden, and Kyrie are all ISO scorers. It's not like one of them is the guy who take a back seat and play a little bit of defense,
Right.
or is even just an excellent defender. So, and none of them are. I mean, KD can do it because he did it with the Warriors. I mean, and this is KD's team. Let's not get it twisted. This is
Right.
KD's.
KD's the best player on that team. That's what it comes down to.
So, I don't know. It's a power struggle, I think, because they all do the same thing. It just comes with being an ISO player. So, I just think Kyrie is just the odd man out.
He is, but my personal opinion is, I think they're going to run with it one time. They're going to see how it goes this season. Kyrie, once again, after this year, still has 2 more years on his deal. I mean, you run with it, you see how it goes. They'll find the areas that they need to improve on, and maybe they'll figure it out in the buyout market. But I mean, we don't know who's going to get bought out, if there will be anyone. But there's still a couple free agents out there to be had. They're going to try and figure it out that way before having to trade one of a top 15 basketball player in the NBA. And they already have 2 others who are on that team that happen to be better than this guy, and we know how special Kyrie is. So I think they're going to run with it this year, reevaluate in the offseason.
Yeah, my biggest fear with that is their biggest fear. Is if you do just run it with Kyrie, then what are you going to get this year? What are you going to be able to trade him this offseason to see? Because these guys on expirings are going to be expiring. So the market for guys who are expiring is completely different. The team trading for him is now only getting 1 year guaranteed. So teams aren't going to be giving up all these picks. I mean, they might look similar to the deals we did just because of shakiness of Kyrie's commitment people feel toward the actual game. And teams aren't really going to give up a ton of firsts right now. So two firsts probably is closer to be what they will get. But just with 1 less year guaranteed, teams are going to be that much more afraid to even trade for them.
Right.
So, I mean, that's definitely just discussions that they have to have, and I'm sure that they have paid people the big bucks to figure out what the market would potentially look like next year, who are targets that they'd potentially be able to trade next year.
Right.
All that good stuff. So.
Right. Well,
See?
we will see.
As a viewer, I hope they do it. I hope they do keep it going because that is going to be so much fun to watch those guys.
Yeah, and
Also,
whether they're scoring $150 and giving up 140, a win's a win, I guess. That's how you have to look at it. But
and just imagine the finals. Nets if it is the Nets and the Lakers.
Oh man, Bron versus Kyrie, I would love to see it.
Versus Kyrie.
I would love to see that. Bron versus KD. I mean, shoot, we can go on, but that would be a star-studded finals.
If that happened and Bron won it, I better see him after the series. I better see him yelling at KD, Harden, telling him, it don't matter what point guard you send out here with you. You're going home. You can't beat me. Russ ain't going to do it. Kyrie's not going to do it.
None of y'all gonna do it.
Especially if he gets a game winner against them.
Oh man, that would be wild. We can get to those predictions later on in another video as we get closer to the playoffs. But that's it, folks. Those are our Kyrie mock trades. Please let us know what you think in the comments. If there's a team we missed out on, please drop it down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yep. And don't forget to tune in to the games they're By the time you hear this, they'll be playing the Heat right now if they haven't already. And they play the Heat Monday night. So we'll get more looks at the Nets then. Next Wednesday they play the Hawks. We'll get some more looks. If they can't beat the Hawks, and they can't stop the Hawks, we need to have a discussion.
Right.
We're going to need to revisit this one.
Maybe at that point, things will have heated up. We shall see.
Thanks for tuning in to the NARP Experiment. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we will be producing 2 to 3 videos a week.
Continue to follow the channel for the hottest in sports content. We'll be coming at you guys with more stuff throughout the year. Thanks.
NARP, come watch, it's time, to the clock. Hitting like Ray off the block. Feel like MJ with the rock. Home run like Sammy Sosa. 2 clutch last period. Get ready, set, go. This a NARP experience. It's a NARP experience. This a NARP experience. This a NARP experience. This a NARP experience.